Welcome back to what I believe is part 3. Alright, so we are moving on to 51 through 75. Joe, would you care to take this one?
51. Curtis Lofton signs with the Raiders. Justin Forsett, the Ravens. Joe Barksdale, unrestricted free agent. Denoris Searcy, Titans. Kenny Britt to the Rams. Or I guess it's not the name there, but
Back to the Rams.
Parrish Cox, Titans. James Carpenter with the Jets. Justin Blaylock, unrestricted free agent. Kendrick Lewis, Ravens. Buster Skrine, Jets. Walter Thurman, Eagles. Let's see. Mason Foster, unrestricted free agent. Brian Hoyer for the Texans. Dwight Freeney, unrestricted free agent. Bruce Carter, Buccaneers. Corey Redding with the Cardinals. Greg Jennings, unrestricted free agent. Reggie Bush to the 49ers. Brooks Reed, Falcons. Kendall Langford with the Colts. Jake Long, unrestricted free agent. Mike Adams, Colts. Jermaine Gresham, unrestricted free agent. Akeem Ayers, Rams. And Jarvis Jenkins, unrestricted free agent. Take it away, Mr. Chest.
Well, thank you very much, Joel. Alright, so I like the Curtis Lofton pickup by the Raiders. The guy can be a thumper in the middle, be a nice pairing with Khalil Mack from last year. Curtis Lofton's still in his prime. He's not the aging veteran that they picked up last year. So, should definitely be an improvement over Lamar Woodley. They also got Malcolm Smith, but we'll talk about him later as he is in the 4th tier of free agency. I like the Kenny Britt re-signing to the Rams. I mean, he's been with pretty much Jeff Fisher his entire career. He was drafted by Fisher at the Rams, then shortly after Fisher left, 2 or 3 years later, he ends up going to the Rams. And he produced last year for them, so that was good for him. Good pickup. The Titans have been very active in free agency, as well as the Colts. So it'll be interesting to see how those teams play out. Because normally the teams that win March do not win in February. Justin Forsett, I really think the only place he could have went is back to the Ravens. I don't think anybody was going to pay him significant money. Dude's like 9 years in the league and he just broke 1,000 yards. Like, congratulations, but
you suck.
I mean, come on. It took you this long to break through. Why exactly? James Carpenter, the Jets, perplexes me a little bit because, if I'm not mistaken, they said that he struggled in the run game, I think it was last year, and that's exactly what the Jets, want to do is run the ball. So, yeah, it's kind of counterproductive. But I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe they intend to unleash Gino on the league.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm a regular comedian. Buster Skrine makes an interesting pickup and the reason why Buster Skrine is interesting to the Jets is because just a couple of years ago they drafted D. Milliner in the 1st round, like 8th overall. I say like, right? As in, I don't really know, but I know it was early. Alright, so they drafted D. Milliner. Now that makes D. Milliner the 4th cornerback on their depth chart. Because he's sitting behind Darrelle Revis, Antonio Cromartie, Buster Skrine, and then you have D. So, I don't know what's going to happen to that guy. He's probably got 1 or 2 more years in New York, and if he doesn't beat out Buster Skrine for at least the nickel spot or an aging Antonio Cromartie, he's not going to beat Revis. That's for damn sure. He was drafted to replace Revis, but he ain't going to beat Revis. So, I mean, Revis at age 52 is still going to be better than D. Milliner. All right, but needless to say, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Walter Thurman, it's like the Atlanta is trying to create their own Legion of Boom. Or not Atlanta, the Eagles. The Eagles, excuse me. The Eagles. Chip Kelly is trying to create his own Legion of Boom. I mean, he's got 2 former Seattle cornerbacks. Walter Thurman, of course, got injured last year, so who knows with that. Jermaine Gresham, unrestricted free agent. You know who I think should work out Jermaine Gresham? He's a pass-catching tight end. He's more athletic. He's just a better overall talent than anything we have on the roster right now. And the only downside with Gresham is he can be injury prone. And I say can be instead of is because he has had, I think, a couple of complete seasons. If you don't mind picking that up, this one's a little slow. But I think just if he was paired with Aaron Rodgers, I think Jermaine Gresham could, go off. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10 tight end in the league, but he could have a pretty good statistical season. Career stats. He's actually played quite a few games. In 2010, he played 15, 11, 14, 12, 16, 13. He played 14 games, and in 2014, he played 15. So he's missed, a game here and there, but for the most part, he's been healthy.
Yeah.
So I honestly think we might be able. And Aaron Rodgers, I think it goes without saying, is a much better quarterback than Andy Dalton. But at the same time, at this point in his career, Zach Ertz is it Zach Ertz? Is that who they drafted? No, I think he went to the Eagles. I can't think of the dude's name right now, but they drafted some young tight end a year or two ago in Cincinnati, and at that point, he's just a healthier, better tight end than Jermaine Gresham. So I think it was more just attrition. He just got kicked out because they don't use tight ends that much. They don't really go too tight. Tyler Eifert? That might be it. I think that's who they got. Anyways. They just don't really use 2 tight end systems too much. But I really, really think Green Bay should look at Jermaine. He's not going to cost a lot. He's a veteran.
Keep him there along with Richard Rodgers.
That really opens up. If we do that, then we don't need to really go look for that big red zone target in the first round. Because I've been saying I don't think we should go middle linebacker in the first round. We should either go corner or we should go tight end and get Max Williams if he's there. Or
so who do you take? Jermaine Gresham, a free agency, or Max Williams in the draft?
Well, now, I think I'll go ahead and say right now, I think Max Williams, he looks to have the greater potential than Gresham. But if we get Gresham and we don't have to get Max Williams, I think that better fits the team, because then it really opens up the door for them to go by the strategy they say they go by, best player available. So if a corner comes down or a really stud anything comes down the pipeline at that point, it's no longer, this guy's too small, we need a big red zone threat. Or, so... And normally they do best player available, but a lot of times they also kind of do need. They kind of mix the two. Like when we picked last year, there weren't many people rated higher than Clinton Dix, but was also a need.
Yeah.
So it was like a mixture. There were a few players we probably could have gotten that were rated higher, but we got the need. We could still get Max Williams and maybe drop Corliss and then have Williams, Gresham, and Rodgers. That would be a hellacious set. But, Green Bay's been known to carry 4 tight ends into the season. So I just think it would really open up the possibilities. and it wouldn't put them in a pinch because 2007 they really got put in a pinch when Buffalo jumped up and Buffalo drafted Marshawn Lynch at 12. Green Bay was picking at 16. Green Bay wanted Marshawn Lynch. They thought they were going to get Marshawn Lynch. They thought they could just sit back and it was going to land in their lap. That wasn't the case. They panicked and they picked Justin Harrell, who flamed out of the league within 3 years. So I just don't want them to panic. And I think the more solid, there's always, you can always draft somebody to improve whoever it is you currently have there, all right? But that's the position you want to be in. You want to be in the position where, okay, I'm drafting this guy to improve on what we already have, not to fill a hole.
Yeah.
So it just allows for greater options. I think it's funny that, not funny, but interesting, that Jake Long, who was like the number 1 overall pick in 2008. In fact, I don't know if this is like, if it was history making or not, but he was actually selected before the draft even began.
Yep.
I remember the Dolphins, I think Bill Parcells was either the head coach or he had something to do with it. He was like a manager or something for him. And they had already worked out a contract and had it ready for him to sign before he had even been picked. And so, like, it's not, okay, the NFL draft is open and the Miami Dolphins are on the clock. It's the NFL draft is open and the Rams are on the clock. I think that's who picked next. Now, I think they picked Chris Long, oddly enough. I don't know, maybe not. But I could be wrong. But anyways, point is, I'm not wrong about Miami being way ahead of the gun. That was interesting. But he played really good for his first 4 years, and then injuries, man.
Yeah.
Michigan man too. But yeah, so I mean that's my Brooks Reed. I think is a guy who has untapped potential. When he was coming out, I really wanted us to get him to put opposite of Clay Matthews, rush outside linebacker. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with him in Atlanta.
Be interested to see if Greg Jennings finds a landing spot in Carolina.
I was just thinking about that. How Greg is still sitting out there.
Went from being a pretty standout receiver, catching the ball from Aaron Rodgers, goes to Minnesota, and
I don't even think he passed 1,000 yards. I think his best season it was like 700 yards. But
how about the 49ers? Lose
oh,
these people and then pick up Reggie Bush.
Yeah, don't know what they were thinking on that one. Gotta be honest. I mean, you got Carlos Hyde. You know he's gonna be the feature.
Yeah.
They go out and they get Torrey Smith and Reggie Bush. I mean, just take that in for a second. They lose all these players on defense. They go out in free agency, they get Torrey Smith and Reggie Bush. Now, it'd be something if maybe they were like, okay, these are game-changing offensive players. And unfortunately, I think that's the way they see them. But Reggie Bush can't get through a full season.
Nope. And he's got fumble problems.
And he's fumbleicious. So, and then Torrey Smith, all he does is deep balls. Guess what Colin Kaepernick sucks at? Throwing the deep ball. That's a bad fit. I mean, that's just like Andre Johnson last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick as his quarterback.
Yeah.
It's not a good fit. I guess they're saying, okay, we're going to take all that speed and we're going to make him do underneath routes and then run past people. Like, okay, just like Percy Harvin can't, be a deep ball threat. I know people like to call him that, but he's not. He's a slant route, catch it and run guy. He's not a fly down the field, lob it to him, let him catch a guy. Torrey Smith is that.
Yep.
He's that deep post, deep fade, streak route, 9 route. He's that guy. He's not slant route, let him catch it and run past people. He doesn't do that. I mean, I'm sure he can to some degree, but that's not what he excels at. So going out and getting a guy that doesn't really fit your system like that, I'm just going to go on record saying I don't really see Torrey Smith really doing anything in San Francisco, and Reggie Bush. That offense and that line is built for someone like Carlos Hyde,
Yep.
one cut downhill runner. Reggie Bush is more of a LaShawn McCoy type. He's gonna bounce side to side and try to look for daylight in the big play, and I mean that's great if your offensive line is doing that, if they're set up for that.
Yep.
But they're not. So. And then the Rams pick up another defensive player. Man, the Rams are stacking up on the defensive side of the ball, man. Rams pick up Akeem Ayers, who is a solid, regular starter at linebacker. So that'd be good for them. It'd be fun if Greg Jennings went to the Colts.
Couple veterans.
Eh. Although I still think they should draft at least one receiver in the top 3 rounds. All right, I guess we can cut this one early. See, I told you to get quicker. Told you. All right, so we're gonna end this one a little early, and we're gonna head on to 4th tier.